Barcelona's pressing structure has really had Barcelona's fans concerned, especially with the amount of space that we are leaving on the wings. And many fans have said that if we would press with the structure against bigger teams that has better players on the ball, we would really suffer. And in this video, we're going to really unpack the possibilities, the bad side and the good side of this pressing structure under Mr. Hansi Flick. As always, guys, please do subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us a lot to get this family to grow bigger. We upload weekly Barcelona content. So I know that if you're a die-hard Barcelona fan, you would truly love this channel. But let's get right into it. Now, before we get into anything, let's first see what this pressing structure is. And we know it's a 4-2-2-2 situation. Now, this could still change. And I don't know, maybe we are jumping the gun here, but it's when Lewandowski is joining the likes of Dani Olmo, even Pedri, deeper. And then we see Lamine Yamal and Rafinha or whoever plays there press up onto the centre backs. That is where you have Pedri and Casado in this case deeper. And then we have this 4-2-2-2 structure against the opposition. Now let's take a look at what some concerns Barcelona fans have over the structure that Hansi Flick has implemented defensively. The biggest concern for fans, of course, is with the amount of space that Barcelona is leaving, especially for the fullbacks in these situations where the opposition can easily find their fullbacks and they can actually create one-on-one or two-on-one situations. And especially with the fact that Balde often gets drawn out, which will leave his position and flank totally open, and the opposition can actually tackle Inigo Martinez in the situation. But I think there's more than what meets the eye in the situation, which we're going to get towards. But I think the space that we're leaving onto the wings and the work rate potentially created for Rafinha and Lamine Yamal is going to be difficult, because ultimately they are the ones that are expected to make it back if these guys decide to actually dribble up the pitch. I think that's the main concern that Barcelona fans have over the structure. If there's more concerns, please do let me know in the comment section. We can discuss it over there. But let's see what Flick has done to actually try and better the structure. The main thing Flick has done was actually bringing out his backline a little bit more in order to force the opposition to play out from the back. And this also narrowed down the spaces that the Barcelona players had to run. For example, also, if the fullback would receive the ball in the space here, he would also push up Balde and expect one of the central midfielders or the pivots to actually cover the space, or even Inigo Martinez would also cover the space right over there. Also, what he did was he let these guys defend a little bit wider in order to encourage the central passes, where one of the pivots would actually follow whoever would drop into that space. So there's some things that he did to actually better the system for Barcelona. Something else that Flick did was he was encouraging his wingers to press from an angle in order to force the opposition to one side. And Lamine Yamal would actually block this pass towards the central spaces, and therefore when the ball would go out wide, Barcelona is now better prepared in order to deal with this press, right? Or this attack. Also, instead of having Balde coming out to the fullback, if they were still able to play out, he would actually have Pedri come and help Alejandro Balde to avoid the 2-on-1 situations. So Flick is definitely trying to perfect the structure for Barcelona. But I do think the main concern for Barcelona is the bigger teams, especially for Barcelona fans, right? But I do think Flick has some ways to counter this, because we saw against Manchester City in pre-season, that he didn't press high with these wingers. He simply just had them in the area right over here where Lewandowski and whoever was playing there with him was just sitting off of the double pivot, trying to mark them and cut the passing lanes into them, right? And therefore Rafinha and Yamal could be closer towards these fullbacks. So just the fact that we are pressing like this against smaller teams does not mean we're going to press against bigger teams as well. Even if we do press this way, you did see that against Valladolid, and this is why Valladolid was struggling. You see these players coming out here in order to block the spaces right there. And even if a team does have their fullbacks receive, are these fullbacks having the options to pass? Look at this. This fullback can pass to nobody, right? Because all the passing lanes are already blocked. So I'm not really, how can I say, of course there is some concern among the spaces, because what if this fullback is in a team that has a fullback that's great on the ball, right? There is some concern, but there's so many things that Flick can actually do. Like Pedri can come out, Lewandowski can come out here and press, right? But the fact of the matter is, like, we cannot have somebody like Varane maybe pressing, right? If Rafinha is putting the pressure and we get them all to one side, even Manchester City would struggle to keep up with this, right? And I think this system has its benefits for Barcelona. In this frame, we see that Torre and Pau Victor is actually sitting off on the pivots, right, cutting out the passing lane. And Hansi Flick could easily just tell them this, guys, we're not going to press the center backs, let's sit on the pivots, right? And look at how even Manchester City in the preseason game, they went long as well, even though they have good players that can play around this type of pressure on the ball, right? And look at the passing options right here. Once this fullback receives, even though our fullback is also going there wide, Grealish is covered and all the other passing options are also covered. So the fact that we have so much space does not mean we are open. And look at this right here, right? If we actually set off, we were better at pressing. So there's still so much to do and to work on the structure actually. But of course, I do know we're going to have some troubles with the systems, like all systems do have. But I do want us to give this some time, because I think Flick can definitely work it out. However, what benefits do this system actually brings FC Barcelona? Now, one of the commentators, he's actually an ex-Barcelona player, I think he played right back, his name is Chapi Ferrer. He actually talked about how Barcelona, with the structure, having the wingers out wide, we are not overworking the wingers and therefore they can last longer. And this is how Barcelona can be a threat throughout the game, right? Also the protection that is granted to Robert Lewandowski. But here's my thing in my opinion, because of the space, this is going to encourage the fullbacks to go up very high, right? And eventually when Barcelona actually do retrieve the ball, we're going to find the likes of Lamine Yamal. We've seen this many times, like how deep Lamine comes and then he can actually drive the ball up the pitch. So Barcelona is going to be devastating on the transition against these teams, because they will ultimately see this as an opportunity, right? And if you partner that with the verticality, so many a times Barcelona's wingers is going to end up in one-on-one situations, and they're going to be able to do this for longer periods of the game. So we do have our benefits of this structure. Of course, guys, it's impossible for me to know everything, right? Do let me know what do you think down in the comment section, right? And I also want you guys to give me some video ideas of what we can talk about, tactically, since it's international break, to keep the channel fresh and keep the content growing. Just comment video idea and then followed by the idea, of course, right? I just want to notify you guys, I did record this video at work here today. So if you hear any cars or whatever, please just imagine this is the Pat McAfee show. As always, do subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us a lot. I will see you in the next one.